The VC show, let's go, doing the part with Ros. We got the sports on deck for our audience. Whether it's big news, hot topics, updates, straight facts, storytelling, breakdowns, or special guests. VC show, let's go, it's time to turn it out. The VC show, let's go.
Welcome everybody to the VC show, presented by Caesar Sportsbook on Omaha Audio. I'm Vince Carter alongside Ros Gold-Onwude. Ros, what's going on? Where in the world are you? And you've been a busy lady lately. I've been trying to hold it down, doing the best I can, but glad you're back.
Oh man, Vince, I know there is nothing that you cannot do. But I've been hustling and moving and shaking and working all of NBA.
I see you.
And all of NBA All-Star Weekend. First of all, shout out to Salt Lake City. You know, for all the talk of another cold city, it was beautiful, sunny, yes, brisk, but the city was ready to host. The people were very warm and friendly. It was a wonderful host city, and I really enjoyed all of the camaraderie of All-Star Weekend. In particular, I did enjoy the dunk contest. I thought it was exciting, the three-point contest, and for me, the way that Africa shined during this All-Star, whether it was during the halftime show, an all Afrobeat halftime show, or the attention to the NBA Africa luncheon, you know that's near and dear to my heart. So this All-Star was special for me. What was your favorite part that you saw, Vince?
Oh, man. You know, I'm always obviously glued to Saturday. To me, it's always an honor to be a part of, obviously, Sunday, but it's nothing like All-Star Saturday night. That's what I made time for. I watched, I was excited for De'Aaron Fox. I was excited for a lot of guys that I know who were rookies that I had. So I got a chance to watch some of the rookies. I went back and watched the dunk contest. I didn't watch it live on purpose, but I went back and watched the dunk contest, and I knew a little bit about Mac McClung coming into it. I had a brief conversation with Jericho Sims. Obviously, I know Kenyon Martin Sr., so there were some guys that I was familiar with, and I was just excited to see a good show because I thought these were athletes, and I was interested to see, because I always say this, people get caught up in the fact that we see dunkers that are in-game dunkers that jump extremely high, but that doesn't mean it does translate over to dunk contest dunking, because imagination comes into play in my opinion.
100%. We're going to dive in a little bit deeper on our breakdown of an analysis of All-Star Weekend, but first, we got to welcome in a very special guest, Vince.
Yeah, and we also got to say this is Black History Month, and we wanted to shine light on the history of our country and of the sport of basketball. And I thought, what better person, than to honor someone who is very instrumental in NBA history, in what we see today as one and dones. I got an opportunity to work with him, not only just to tell his story, but acting a little bit. So, I like to honor Black history and introducing an NBA legend, a very important piece. And if you don't know, after you guys hear this show, please go look up Spencer Haywood's story and understand how important he is to not only young athletes, but to the league. So Spencer Haywood, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today. And before you say something, I want you to talk about that piece that's standing behind you that you told me about.
Well, here it is. This is it's a tree. It's a root of how all of the players got to the NBA. And there is Vince sitting at the top here, and LeBron,
I made the tree.
And Michael Jordan and Kobe. We have look like Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, and let's see, there's LeBron on that side. There's Kobe up there at the top.
Yep, that's Kobe.
So it's a tree. It's called the Tree of Life for the NBA, because until I came along, the NBA, you had to wait for 4 years, either in college, or you would sit out or go to the Globetrotters or go overseas, and then you come back to the NBA. So basically, you were losing maybe 3 to 4 years on your playing career starting. So I thought it was unfair, and so I sued the NBA for the rights to play. And the NBA sued me back, saying that I was violating their trust agreement with the NC2A. And so the case went from the lower courts all the way to the Supreme Court, where Thurgood Marshall said, you cannot deprive a young player from making a living when we are asking them to go to Vietnam to fight at age 18. We're asking these young men to do these different things, but yet when it comes to making money for themselves or helping their family, you can't do it. And what was happening as well, the universities and the colleges were taking all of the money, the coaches, the university, the car dealers, the hotels in those cities, they were loading up, whereas the players could not make any money, and they could only receive maybe a hamburger or something like that, stipends. And whereas they were like taken out of, say, Chicago, or I was taken out of like Detroit, and our group didn't get any residual effects from that. It was just University of Alabama, you just take it all, and your whole community take it all. So I thought it was wrong. And being I'm an old boy from Silver City, Mississippi, and it ain't no silver and it ain't no city. And it's from Mississippi with, you got 4 eyes and can't see.
Man, what you said.
Yeah. So I thought it would be a good fight, but I didn't know it would last a year. And they would give me injunctions. The first 10 games I played, it was okay because it was just the announcer would come on. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an illegal player on the floor, number 24, and this game is being played under protest.
Wow.
So, and it went on, and they could throw bottles and everything. Back then, they didn't have plastic rods. They just threw real bottles.
They threw real bottles.
Real bottles. And people yelling, go back to school. And I was like, I can't go back. I played already.
Right.
Wow.
So I'm in violation of the NC2A rules. And then the next time I got an injunction, they got an injunction for me to stay. So I would sit in Seattle and hang out over at the University of Washington and Seattle University. And the guy that I would hang out with was Rick Welts, the Golden State Warriors. He was our ball boy at the time. And so when I got, yeah, I know. So when I got to Seattle, with the Sonics, Lenny Wilkins was a player coach, and he had on his uniform. Rod Thorne was the assistant coach. He had on his uniform.
Wow.
Tom Macheri, who was in the Golden State ceiling, he was the associate coach. So we had no one on our team in a suit. Everybody was in uniform. And so we went to Cincinnati. Let me just cut it into it. We went to Cincinnati first, and they said, we got an injunction for Spencer Haywood, and they put me out into the snow because the injunction read this particular night, well, he cannot stay in the locker room and stay warm. We want to put him out into the snow. We're going to break his spirit. So they put me out into the snow, and the security and the police that was guarding me because I couldn't violate the injunction, they just got angry at how I was being treated. So they put me in the car and said, we're going to lose our job. I don't care. So they protected me that particular night.
And Spencer, let it be known that I remember you telling me this, that they put you out in the snow in your uniform. Yeah. You didn't get a chance to change. Yeah. You were in your uniform.
I didn't get a chance to change. So I was out with my uniform, and I had my snap warm-ups on the bottom, but it was freezing. And then I get another injunction to play after that injunction ran out for 10 games. Then I get into Chicago, your friend Michael Jordan, you guys from North Carolina and all of that. But anyway, I get into Chicago. The great Hall of Famer Chet Walker saw me warming up on one end, and the Chicago Bulls say that you're hurt. And so he said, looking at Spencer warm up and dunking, I hurt my ankle. So the Bulls sued me for $600,000. Yeah, I
Wait,
know.
why?
Because I wasn't a member. Huh?
Why were they suing you?
Yeah, go
Why
ahead,
were they
Ross.
suing you for that amount of what was their
Well, the
ground?
whole idea was the whole idea was to break the spirit of me so that I would just give it up and you would have your 4-year rule because it was being funded by the NC2A and Duke Energy and those kind of funds that were there because they were preaching that, if this rule is defeated, we are going to lose all of our revenue in college. Which was not so, but that was the whole preaching point of view. And then our guys would not be educated and blah, blah, blah. So I finally got a chance to play. And then we had worked our way to the Supreme Court, and Thurgood Marshall says, under the Sherman Antitrust Act, I am going to grant Haywood the right to play, and thus the change of basketball and football forever, NFL and NBA. And I still wasn't a member of the Players Association. So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, where normally the teams would they would come out on the floor and see me warming up, and they would take their teams downstairs or they would sue me because it was part of the Players Association, because they had convinced the players, the Jerry West, the Wilt Chamberlain, all of those greats, that if this guy win this case, you and your family is going to be out on the street because we're going to have a lot of Vince Carters, Spencer Haywood, Kobe's, and all of them coming into the league, and they're going to push you right out on the street. So they didn't support me. And Kareem wouldn't go downstairs. Kareem said, well, no, I want to play against Wood. We've been battling each other, not physically yet, but we wanted to see we were the two best players. And so he didn't go back downstairs, and Sports Illustrated had a picture of it saying, oh my God, these two guys are the new future of the NBA. And that's when things kind of broken open. And then Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, and all of those guys, Oscar Robertson, said, we were just working with the teams and how they were structured. And so welcome home, welcome to the NBA. And from that point in 1971 until today, that case has generated for players and players' salaries and life on their career, $35 billion in player revenue. And a guy like LeBron, for an example, when he broke Kareem's record last week or week before last, he would have been short by 8,341 points if he didn't have this rule. Because he got 4 years to do it.
That's interesting.
4 extra years to do it. And that's why when I was sitting with Kareem, Ros, I waved at you. You were like, I'm too busy. I'm too famous. No, I know she didn't. No, she didn't.
Spencer, I can't say nothing because she's gonna think I'm taking your side. So I'm just gonna say,
I was hustling.
No. Me.
I was hustling all weekend. I was hustling.
I know you were working. I know you were working to go. But they finally the league decided that on Saturday that they would set Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Spencer Haywood, and Julius Erving in side by side in a seat and show what kind of contributions we have made for the NBA. And it was beautiful. And we just talked about it, and Kareem kept hitting me in my elbow and me saying he wouldn't have broke the record if it wasn't for you.
I mean, and what's cool about it is that he's acknowledging that, that he acknowledged obviously your sacrifice, and also like, hey, if he didn't, he'd have been 8,000 points short.
Right.
That messed me up. No, but one of the things I'm taking away from listening to you, Spencer, is, camaraderie and advocacy of the players around you was important in seeing your fight and your fight for this go through, and listening to what you went through, the sacrifice, the injustice thrown your way as people try to discourage you. once you broke through, once there was legislation around this, let's fast forward to now. You're seeing player movement, player empowerment. You're seeing young players not only getting to leave early, but now having NIL legislation, name, image, likeness. You know, this all, I think, trickles from your case.
My case,
How,
yes, it
what
is
are you
my
most
NIL.
proud of or excited about of the way the game is now and shaped by, you know, what you were able to accomplish then?
Well, I'm so proud that young players like LeBron, we'll use him as an example, guys who are able to come into the NBA, bring their whole posse of people, their families, their mothers, their fathers, their brothers, their sisters, and it brought generational wealth to black folks because we wasn't in the picture before. And so this ruling helped those people, as well as now last year the NIL, they reached out to me about what did I think about the NIL, and I said it's about time you pay the players, because you can't continue to have me picking all of the cotton and you reap all of the benefits. You sit on the porch drinking a mint julep saying, man, they sure did work hard in the fields today, but you get no reward. So that's what I see about it. And I was very pleased to see the NFL this year. They did mention it, that Patrick Mahomes was under my ruling as the quarterback this year that won the Super Bowl. So I was like, finally. So it's just been a lot of excitement. I spent some time with Kobe before he passed. We were working on the movie of my life because he thought it would be something that he would want to produce and make it happen perfectly. And then he passed, God rest his soul, and his great daughter. But yeah, that was something special. But I do have something even special that's happening now. But I guess my company that I just signed with for the movie rights don't want me to talk about it as much. So I'll mention it to you that we have a major motion picture that is coming to explain the whole story to all of the young players because they don't know who I am or what I did. So that's going to help enlighten them on this. And it's a major motion picture.
For those watching right now who may not, you know, might be of a younger generation, real quick, just to catch you up, we're talking to Spencer Haywood, Hall of Famer, inducted in 2015. We're talking to NBA champion, 1980. Let's talk about 1969 ABA Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season. And then, of course, what we just detailed here, successful court litigation to the NBA over eligibility, and won in the Supreme Court, creating underclassmen and draft eligibility. So lots to discuss here. You're multifaceted.
Don't forget the Olympics.
Okay, and Olympia. I'm reading what they put here.
Yeah. Well, the 68 Olympics was very interesting, too, because I wasn't supposed to try out because I was too young. And when Kareem boycotted the 68 Olympics and Wes Unseld and Elvin Hayes went into the pros, they invited me down to try out for the Olympic team. And I went there thinking, well, you know, I think I'll just grab me some gear, Vince, go back to Detroit, show my stuff. Like, hey, I tried.
Show off the Olympic gear.
Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, we had a group of athletes at the University of New Mexico lined up, and they started cutting players who did make the team. Pete Maravich averaging 44 points per game, cut. Calvin Murphy averaging 33 points a game, cut. Rick Mount averaging 39 points a game, cut. Dan Issel, cut. Tom Boerwinkle, cut. And then they look over and says, you know, I think the guy that's going to take us all the way to the gold medal is this guy, Spencer Haywood. I was like, who? Me? I'm a freshman. So that was pretty unique. And then we went down to Mexico City. And when we got to Mexico City, here's these two cats, man, walking around teaching us about history, Tommy Smith and John Carlos. It's like, you got to be in the revolution, bro. You got to be ready. And George Foreman and I was like, man, all we want to do is get to the commissary and eat up all of this good food.
A lot of free food. Now, hey, real quick, did you get any backlash from like the Calvin Murphys and the Pete Maraviches, because they were averaging these outrageous numbers, and you were the freshman that actually got on, and they felt that they could lead? Did they have any ill will or feelings to you because of that, or did you feel that, or did they show any to you?
No, because I killed them all. I'm sounding like that guy. What's that guy? The dude that had the hot mic on HBO. And he said, I killed them all. But no, I turned that stuff out. I was playing so out of body. Vince, sometimes you play out of your body. And I was playing out of my body and out of my mind. I blocked everything. I ran. And being that I had been only up north for like 3 years in Detroit, I was a cotton picker from Mississippi. So we worked from sun up to sundown, 8 to 12 hours a day, every day. And everything I did was walking or running. So I was a big kid, and they put me in that arena. We were saying who the best would come to the top. I was like, shit.
Cream will rise to the top.
Yeah, so I rose to the top, and here I am. 3 years before, I'm picking cotton for $2 a day. And now all of a sudden, here I am in the Olympics, a gold medal winner, and set records, the MVP. And I also set the record for most points in the history of the Olympic Games, the highest field goal percentage ever in the Olympic Games, the most rebounds, and the most block shots. The only time I lost my scoring record was
it's KD, right?
KD,
not too long ago.
He came in and shooted threes and everything.
Yes.
He wiped me right out. I was like, bro, that ain't cool.
Well, you got every other record.
Yeah, I know, but I said, K,
you want him
because he's a Sonic too, so he don't want to admit that. Yeah,
right.
What a wealth of experience in just one person's life. My goodness.
Yeah, but let me tell you what happened, Roz, when Tommy Smith and John Carlos was just trying to say something back home for the black folks, because black folks was like, you should have boycotted. You shouldn't even be there. Do like Kareem. And we was like, we got to play. We got a future. So they were making a salute to black folks back home with the glove and human rights and all over the world. But Avery Brundage, who was a friend of Adolf Hitler, was the head of the Olympics. He came in, he was a Nazi. He kicked them out of the compounds where we were staying, marched them right through all of us as Olympic players. And we're like, what you doing? Why are you doing this? They won bronze and they won gold. And we want to make it an example. You guys can't say another word. And if you do, we're taking your passport and you're stuck here in Mexico City. So when they escorted John and Tommy off the grounds, you see George Foreman, when he knocked out the Russian, all of a sudden George had a flag, that little American flag waving. Yeah, I'm an American. Then you saw me standing on the podium. They put the gold medal on my neck, and I'm standing there thinking, wow, 3 years ago I was picking cotton as a slave, and now I'm an American hero with a gold medal. I mean, this country is, you can say a lot about it being bad or whatever, but you can rise.
Wow.
So that was my experience at the 68 Olympics.
The VC show, let's go.
Building the perfect same-game parlay can be time-consuming, but with Quick Picks, the Caesars Sportsbook app does the work for you. Quick Picks are pre-built same-game parlays that turn today's biggest headlines, storylines, and games into bets. They're quick and easy to use, and you can't miss them. They're right on the home screen of your Caesars Sportsbook app. Give them a try, and if you haven't downloaded the app yet, register using code OMAHAFULL, and then place your first bet. If you win, congrats. If you don't, you'll get your stake up to $1,250 back as a bet credit.
Gym membership? Check. Streaming membership? Check. On-demand food and grocery membership? Yes, that's a thing. Time to try Dash Pass by DoorDash and unlock savings you didn't know you were missing. Dash Pass is a membership from DoorDash that offers unlimited $0 delivery fees from thousands of eligible restaurants, grocery stores, and convenience stores. Once you join, you'll save on each eligible order and receive DoorDash credits back on all pickup orders. That means more money back in your wallet. You'll also enjoy the best of your neighborhood as you discover the new and best places near you. Get 50% off up to a $20 value on your next Dash Pass order when you sign up for a membership and redeem Vince at checkout. That's 50% off your first Dash Pass order up to a $20 value with Vince, V-I-N-C-E. Say goodbye to delivery fees. Get Dash Pass from DoorDash today using Vince, V-I-N-C-E. When you've got zero delivery fees, you're free to get more because you can. Start your free month trial today.
First of all, like just digesting that is crazy. What a story of overcoming, and also what an inspiration, and how quickly life can change. Parallels that I'm seeing to now, you know, is it crazy to you that in some ways we're having similar conversations, you know, that we are then? And you got athletes now understanding their voice and their platform to speak up on tough topics around the world and within the U.S.
Yes, I feel very proud that I was a part of that revolutionary group of athletes, because we had Curt Flood went to the Supreme Court for baseball. And just before I finished my case, Muhammad Ali was there, or was he after, for his case. So the three athletes that were there, and now one, he got ostracized and got thrown out of America, was Curt Flood. He had to go live in another country and never to come. When he came back to Major League Baseball before he passed and before he died, the players didn't know who he was. They just looked at him like, what's this old drunk, man? Who is he, you know? And Ali, you know his impact. And then with me, what the league has done and what the NC2A, because I sued them, they have decided we'll call the rule, first we call it the hardship rule.
Yep, right.
Secondly, we call it early entry. And thirdly, we call it one and done. And now, this is the first time I've spoke with Adam Silver, I spoke with Tamika. They are looking to make the change finally, as it should have been 53 years ago, to the Spencer Haywood rule. And then all of the players would know what it's all about. Because I was hanging out with the guys on the sideline, and Kareem kept pulling them over. I was like, God, you're embarrassing, Kareem. Y'all should know him, you know. This is Spencer Haywood. And then
like,
Julius
Spencer, you got to be one with that, bro. Like I mean, because like this is history that a lot of like I did some work with you on the show, and still learning a lot about your history. And when I thought I knew a lot about it, like I'm sitting here like in awe, like, and I feel like. Yeah, it's like there's more, you know. And for me being an Olympian, for me getting the opportunity to stand on that platform and receive a gold medal, like yeah, I know what it's like. But like it's different. Like I didn't make the original team. I got on after Tom Gugliotta got hurt, and I ended up leading the team in scoring. And it was that same feeling, like wow, I went from not even being on the team to leading to lead, you know, getting on the team, leading scorer, getting the opportunity to wear a gold medal. So like it's a parallel, and I get the feeling, but your story and that experience is like times 10. And I know a lot of young people today, Ros kind of touched on a little bit, don't, you know, they're not, there's some who are, but a lot of them don't really dig into history or understand.
Their fault, though.
No, 100%. And that's what I wanted to say. Like they're not into it, but I feel like this is a must hear and a must do, a must read. And when your story comes out, it's a must watch. And NBA teams should make a day, you know, where they go watch and learn your story.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
and I just want to also throw flowers on this. Like when we're having all these conversations right now about player empowerment, you know, added points and stats totals to the longevity of the grades, including you know, the history and some of the story behind LeBron able to come in straight from high school, or name, image, likeness laws, and the money that's going to be made for these athletes, whether they're pro or not.
Yeah.
All of this can be taken back to your first efforts. Like, it really is.
Yeah. Ros, let me say one thing. The one player, retired or current, that has had me on his show is that man you're sitting next to, Vince Carter, is the only one that ever brought me out of, you know, out front and said, let's do some history a little bit. Let's do some history. And so I'm so appreciative of him. And he's such a wonderful man. So thank you so much. But
absolutely,
this is an awesome time for me because, you know, it's just, you know, looking at my 4 daughters. One of them are here today just visiting. And your girl, Isis, she's in and out of here like every 2 or 3 weeks. Zuleika is running Iman Inc. because that was my first marriage, was with Iman. So so we had the fashion world.
Oh, cool.
and so cool. And then Courtney is a professor at the HBC University in Philadelphia, Lincoln University. So I've been very blessed to have my Shakira, the one that's here. She's a doctor. She works also with the NBA Players Association as a psychiatrist for the players.
You did good, Dad.
So I've been, yeah, I did good. So, well, they did good. They did good.
You were,
I just laid the groundwork.
Girl dad before we even had the term.
Girl dad.
Right.
Fully girls.
What's it like to be someone who dominated on a male sports stage and then come up and want to guide 4 young girls into womanhood?
Yeah, well, that was a beautiful experience because one of my first experience with my daughters, I'm a friend of Richard Williams, so I was like, my daughters can take your daughters out. I'm going to train them. I had just retired. I said, I'm training my daughters to become the best tennis players in the world. So we would go and work every day, and I would like take them into the city because we lived outside of the city in Detroit. So we would bring them in and they would like practice and practice and practice. And I was like, whatever you do, don't ever slip over and play basketball. Let's just work on tennis. So they got together one day. We were all going to play tennis and work on our game. And they said, hey, Pops, we have all, as a group, 4 girls, decided we don't want to do your dream. We quit. We quit. And we always loved basketball and we love tennis, but we quit. This is it. This is your last day in the big hunt. So I thought I mean, it was fun. We were just hanging out. And
Spencer, don't feel bad.
I said,
I got that same sit down with my daughter.
What happened, Vince?
Okay,
what
you know
happened
what I'm
to
saying.
you?
What happened?
The exact same thing. The exact same thing. She played tennis for so long, and she was training with Coco Golf and got really good and in the top 20 in the state. And then after she won her last tournament and did well, she's like, Dad, I don't want to do this anymore.
I
was like, wait, what?
Wait a minute, okay. My heart is broken.
No, I mean, she put so much work in it and trained hard to become, one of the best in the state, in the state, and then just didn't want it. Her heart wasn't there anymore. She wanted to kind of transition into volleyball. So as much it was kind of painful and crushing, I'm like, it's like you could get a scholarship full ride for this. If it wasn't in her, I respected it, and here we are.
Well, my plot was a little deeper because I was thinking, wait a minute, I'm going to be at the French Open. I can hang out in Paris. Because Iman and I back in the old days, we had I know, Ross, listen to this. We had fun living in Paris and stuff, and I could go to the Italian Open. Oh my God, my girls, y'all are sidebar of what I want. I'll be in
you just got to get me there.
Wimbledon. I'll be in Australia. And they said, no, Daddy-o, we're going to play basketball. I was like, oh, no. So they played basketball and played college tennis, but they quit. And that was then Zuleika, my oldest daughter, she put it even rougher on me. She says, 2 things I don't want to be in life: an athlete or a model.
Dang, she didn't want to do what
That
dad or
sounds
mom
pretty
did.
personal.
Yeah, that's for both of y'all.
At least you can't
Sounds
take
very
it personal.
personal, ladies. So I had so much fun growing up with my daughters. That's why they all come back and forth. And my last 2, they lost their mothers 6 months ago. My wife died after 36 years of hanging out, me and her, and married for 33. So I miss her a lot, but I know she's hovering over me and guiding all of this stuff. And
She's
my
opening
girls
those
are
other
right
doors
there.
for you.
Yeah.
Make sure
Open all of these doors. Yes, exactly. And she looked just like Isis, so I can look at Isis and say, hey.
Hey, my Isis is so stunning, like showstopper. Takes after her. But no, I did know your family was going through that, and I want to wish just may she rest in peace and peace for your family. We appreciate like the insight on fatherhood here. I mean, there's just so much versatility in the way like you've existed in your life.
The VC show, let's go.
Breaking news, Manscaped now sells beard products. That's right, they are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with the brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind the Beard Hedger Pro Kit allows you to shape your signature beard look. And right now, you can go to manscaped.com and use the code VCSHOW for 20% off and free shipping. It's time to tame your mane. No one likes a weird beard, so say goodbye to all your stubble trouble with Manscaped's Pro Beard Kit. It all starts with the Beard Hedger. This thing is a juggernaut fixing faces. First off, this cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 hair cutting lengths, all with one guard. So no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. The Pro Kit doesn't end there. You'll also get beard shampoo and conditioner, beard oil, and beard balm. The Pro Beard Kit also comes with 3 free gifts: a beard brush, comb, and scissors to ensure your beard is ready to impress. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code VCSHOW at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code VCSHOW. Manscaped Beard Hedger. 1 stroke, 1 guard, 20 length.
Kick your feet up, you can find us on all platforms. In that form, so be the hottest on them platforms. Your family now, got you listen to what we talking about. The VC show, let's go, it's time to turn it out. The VC show, let's go, let's go. The VC show, let's go, let's go. The VC show.
I'm going to take you to another chapter of your life, Spencer. Let's look at that Lakers season that HBO's Winning Time focused on, following the Lakers' dramatic 1980 season where the championship was won. They casted actor Wood Harris as you. Winning Time has been a huge hit. So how do you feel about the way HBO depicted you and those Lakers?
Well, I think some of the players I spent, we went to Hawaii together, Kareem, all of us recently, and we talked about it and everything. But I had no problem in my depiction because I got to Los Angeles and I fell in with a bad group of people and I started freebasing cocaine. And that's a fast track. That's not like, if you snorted, you might survive a year, but freebasing was like, 6 months, you just see some crazy stuff happen. So, and when I got there, I came in from New Orleans averaging 24 points and 10 rebounds per game. And I didn't report to Utah, so the Utah fans were a little pissed off at me this weekend when I showed up. So I forced the trade because Iman wanted to continue to work, and we couldn't get any work in Utah, and she wanted to act, so we was in L.A. And Vince, the first quarter of the season, I was doing really great. But then it started decaying my game. I started losing my hands, and I would always blame it on Magic because he was a rookie. So we would be in the film room looking at our film, looking at our stuff, and I was like, Pat Riley and Westhead would always say, Spencer, why are you not rebounding? You average 10 rebounds a game. What are you doing? I said, it's not me. Because I was in total denial. It's not me, it's Kareem. Look, watch this. He shoot the hook, the sky hook. He is making 60% of them. And then the other 60%, I run to the other side to get the rebound. It rolls off on the other side. It's on Kareem. And it says, well, why are you losing your hands? What happened with your hands? Oh, I said, oh my God, that's magic. He's
magic with bad passes.
Yeah, it couldn't say it on the film, Vince, because it was like hit me in my hand, and I was like, well, I got too much spin on the ball. He puts too much spin on my ball, and everybody else's ball is like perfect. So I was going through my whole denial principle, and then I got worse. I had lost 15 pounds dealing with this disease, and once we got all the way to the finals, I had just melted down because I was hanging out with Richard Pryor, everybody, that was in that era. And so we get to the final where we got past Seattle. We were into the finals against Philadelphia, and I said, maybe I was trying to be away from everything, and Iman was like, oh my God, she was so nervous. So she left and went back to New York because she knew I was falling apart. And her sister Nadia stayed with me in Los Angeles. So I took a little ride with some crazy people just before the finals. And I knew something was wrong coming back from the house where we had been getting high that morning, because I waited too late, and I waited too late to pull back. We had like 2 hours before practice. I had to come across Los Angeles. So I was driving my car, and I get over to La Cienega, and down before we get to the arena, I'm sitting there and I'm trying to figure out, why are these people blowing their horn at me? I had been sitting there for 10 minutes because I had went to sleep in my car. I could have happened on the highway, could have happened on the freeway. I would have been dead. So I get to practice, and then we are doing stretching exercise, and I lay back, and Jamal and Kareem and I would always stretch together. So I fall asleep again. So they says, well, you got to go home. We got to win the championship. So I go home and regroup, and then I get to the game. Kareem is on the free throw line. I got a ball because I've lost my hands. The ball slips out of my hand, fall out. This is a point of important point in the game. The tennis ball, roll on the floor. Kareem looking at me like. So then I kind of got myself together, and Julius Erving, we were playing against Julius, and Julius was like, man, you got to get this together, man. You're in the finals. What's going on? What? Because we've been friends for years. So, and then all of a sudden, Westhead decided, well, we think we should suspend him because we got enough to win the championship. We don't need him anymore. We got past Seattle, and so that's how I got suspended from the team. So I was sitting in my home in Inglewood and just being all in a bad place with a lot of bad people. And then I get this knock on my door, and it's Dr. Vanderway, Kiki Vanderway's father. And he said, you got to go with me. So he took me over to his home and just wouldn't let me leave the home, and prayed with me, prayed over me. And then when the season ended, Kareem came over, and he was like, man, we got the championship, but we miss you, and we love you, but we ain't going to give you no full playoff share because you're going to get worse. So they took my playoff.
We love you, but you're not getting the money.
You're not going to get the money.
Wow.
Because they were trying to protect me. They didn't know how to.
Right, of course.
We didn't have no treatment facilities back then. So they said, well, we'll take the playoff share and give it to him later because I know who he's hanging with and I know what he's going to do. And because I was slipping, and then later on, and then they said, well, you're going to have to go to Italy to play, to clean out because we don't have, anything. So I said, please take me, let me go someplace. I just want to get well again. So I get over there and I'm going through my physical and the doctor's telling me I had a slight heart attack smoking that mess. I was like, wow, I was that close to dying. So I got myself together and they loved me up. And I came back to the Washington Wizards, which is the Washington Bullets back then. Had a great season and getting ready to have the best season of my life. And then Iman was in an automobile accident in New York. So I had my young daughter, Zuleika. I had her sister, Nadia, and Idul stayed with us because, Somalia was going through exile and they didn't have green cards. So I brought all of her family and lived with me in New York. So I had to go home. And that's how I ended my career, right at home. But I went through my sobriety. I went through treatment. I did treatment for first my 30 days, and then the counselor scared me and said, "You're going to need more. You're no good. You can't wait to get high." And sure enough, in my mind, I was thinking, I can manage my getting high now. So I did another 60 days. Did another 60 days. Then I drove my car all across the country, making meetings, and I was sitting on the bank behind my house in Mississippi trying to figure out what happened. And then going through the history of my family, I've lost 4 brothers and sisters to alcoholism because the disease is in our gene. And now I'm going into my 38th year of sobriety because
that's awesome.
I worked the program, and Shakira, my daughter that's here now, she used to go with me to see my psychologist. And so she would sit in the lobby, and so she ended up being a doctor and a psychologist because of my problem. And so I've been so grateful and so much gratitude. And that's what happened in LA. That's the story, Ros.
Wow.
Kind of deep, but that's what happened.
Kind of.
When you think,
yeah.
Kind of deep. When you think too, though, like where the trajectory of your life, you're talking about somebody who went from working hard labor, to suddenly you're in the NBA, you're in all these types of high level, crowds, you're in the Olympics, you've got attention, you've got money now. Like now there was no rookie symposium there was no mental health coach or sports psychologist to help you through this. And it speaks to like the importance of these topics that have become more relevant now. But back then there was no support.
There was nothing, no support. In fact, when I went to see the psychologist, my psychiatrist first with Iman, when we was just settling into New York and after retirement, I went in and I was trying to figure out, I don't have no problem, so why am I here? Maybe she got a problem, but not me, And so I listened to him and I started talking, and then he said, well, Iman, you got to go out. You got to get out of the room. And so then we start talking and we start dealing with how I grew up in Mississippi, the whole Klan thing that I lived through and how they were shooting at us at night. And it just so much stuff started boiling over. And I walked out of there. I said, I think I found a place to hang. So that's been my life, going and talking it out. I don't carry no baggage with me. And so I just dump it in. And so what happened was then I became the chairman of the board for the NBA retired players. The first thing out of my box were, we need health insurance. So Chris Paul, LeBron James, Steph Curry, and those guys said, we're going to give you the same health insurance that we got. So at that same time, Nate Archibald, Hall of Famer, great guard of all times, he was dying because he had needed a heart transplant. So we got him that heart transplant. Earl Monroe hip problems. We got all of those things straight. So that's been my little mission, working with my guys, the older guys, and hanging around with the young guys, listening to them telling me about old days.
All
And
these
it's
guys,
pretty cool.
They don't know about
all
old
these
days.
guys got to send you a handwritten thank you note and a gift because you've protected them at the beginning of their careers, during their careers, and when they're done, they're going to be protected afterwards as well as retired players.
Yes.
Seriously, it's.
But that's God's will.
The VC show, let's go.
Union Pacific Railroad wants you to join its team. It's an opportunity that comes with great pay and benefits. There are a variety of open roles across its 23-state network, including train crew positions, with hiring and relocation incentives of up to $50,000 in some locations. You can even get a free college education while working. Union Pacific Railroad connects hundreds of communities, hauling goods Americans rely on every day. Get your career on the right track with Union Pacific and apply today at up.jobs/sports. That's up.jobs/sports.
Well, actually, I know that you get to hang out in Las Vegas, and I know Vince and I have talked about this on the show. We wanted to look forward with you, look forward direction. You live in Vegas, and the NBA has been rumored to exploring a team in the NBA. LeBron James has even said, I would love to bring a team here at some point in Vegas. How do you feel about a team in Vegas and LeBron being part of the leadership that makes that happen?
That is probably the greatest thing for our city, but also for the NBA, because we have the gaming. It's already set up, the books and everything, and it's legal. We have the Raiders came here, broke, dragged out, nobody wanted them. We built a new $1 billion, a couple of $3 or $4 billion Allegiant stadium. They have blossomed. Their revenue has grown tremendously, and we got now the Oakland A's are trying to move here, or the Texas team, one of the Texas teams are trying to move in baseball. This would be, I would think, be the greatest thing that happened in the NBA, as well as for LeBron James, because I think he's one of the front runners on this. And there's a lot of funds out here with people who want to join him. And there's a lot of international funds. And we have a T-Mobile Arena. We already have it set up and rolling. And in the meantime, the Wikis, who was trying to build the franchise in Seattle, because the Sonics, you got to have, when you come back with the expansion, you're going to have 2 teams coming in, because otherwise it would be unbalanced. So you're bringing back the Sonics, where my jerseys and all of my stuff is in storage, because I didn't want to let them take my stuff to OKC. Lenny Wilkins' stuff is in storage. Gary Payton's stuff is in storage. So we all are going to have a big day up there in 2.5 years when they come back. And here you have LeBron, who has gave the league so much, and now he's an owner, and he might get a chance to play, Vince, with his young son for 1 year.
I know, that's
here
crazy.
in Vegas. It's going to be something special. So that's my joy of him having that franchise.
Let's talk about your podcast. Tell us about the Spencer Haywood rule in your podcast. You get to tell your story every day, and we're truly thankful, first of all, that you're telling our story here on the VC show. Yeah. And all of our listeners kind of get to kind of take a walk through history, because it's one thing, sidebar to read about history. It's another thing having history in front of you and telling the actual story, because now you don't get history mistaken. And I've told you this before, but tell us about the Spencer Haywood rule.
The podcast is something that I do it's like going to therapy. I get a chance to talk about basketball, life. And I spent a lot of time. I've had Chuck D as one of my guests. We did hip hop and the history of hip hop, what it was all about, how it came about. So I've had those kind of people on, and I've had the NBA chief psychologist for the Players Association. We've done a couple of podcasts together in terms of just the mental health aspect that players need, and their families. We keep saying the player need it, but their families need it as well, opening up those avenues. So I've just been overwhelmed by the idea that I could just sit in a microphone and talk about all the
Just
things.
let it out.
Just let it all out. So it's been awesome. It's been awesome. It's called the Spencer Haywood Rule Podcast. You can get it anywhere on your podcast search, and it's fun for me. And it's also, it gives me a chance to talk about recovery. It gives me a chance to tell people about my fall, because it was a horrible fall, to be up top and fall to the bottom, and I survived and didn't die, because we have a lot of people that didn't make it. And so I got a lot of gratitude. And then one podcast I'm getting ready to do, Roz, is about a father and daughter relationship.
Oh, that's amazing.
Where, with 4, I want to get into it with all 4 of my girls and let them tell bad stories about me.
But I think that would be cool though, Spencer. Think about this, because like all of your daughters can talk about, like you talk about your rise and your fall and your rise again, and your daughters can kind of talk about the experience going through their experiences going through that, because it's going to help heal and educate other kids who are going through that, who don't understand or know how to handle it or recover from it. So I think that will be therapy for them as well. So I think that's a cool idea.
It's a great idea. I mean, I can't wait for them all we sit down and do this. But I had to take a break because of my loss of my Linda for all of those years together with her. So now I'm back. I feel good. I feel rejuvenated. Thanks to you,
Spencer,
guys.
we thank you. Yeah, man, we thank you so much for doing this. I want to ask you one question. Do you still play basketball? Do you still shoot around? Do you still fool around on the court when you get that opportunity?
Yeah, I do. I play a little bit over at, Shaquille O'Neal's son is here with the G League. And so they play over in Henderson. And I'm a member of Lifetime Fitness, so we have a gym over there. So I get out there and do a little something. But I'm no good.
That's impressive.
My game is gone. It's just, it's just
you got those golf hands now.
Yeah, I got the golf hand. You remember now, you guys, I'm 74 years old, so.
I know, but yeah, you said you're doing a little something. That's saying something.
Yeah, my nephew lives out here, and he's a former military person, and they play. And it's Ricky Sober's son. He plays in the league. So I get over and look at the guys and watch everybody play. So I got a little something. And I got 2 grandsons coming up. And
all right. Well, once again, we thank you so much for your time. Welcome back. I know you feel rejuvenated. We're so thankful. I'm thankful. I know Roz is, for not only having you on here. You know how I feel about you and you telling your story. Thank you so much once again. You guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the VC show. We're signing off. Spencer Haywood, Roz, VC, we out. Let's go.
Thanks.